wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Alvyn Kurniadwi putra, and my student identity number is 22240900059, and I want to accomplish my English assignment 4 within presentation. My presentation now is talk about Ashmore Reef. Ashmore Reef controversial. My introduction: the Ashmore Reef, or a group of sand islands, is an outer archipelago in the Indian Ocean located 320 kilometers northwest of Australia and 140 kilometers south of Indonesia's entities Rote Islands. Historically, Ashmore Reef has been an integral part of the Indonesian nation. After her MOU between Indonesia and Australia in 1974, there was a declaration that Ashmore shoal belonged to Australia. However, there is no concrete evidence that Australia claims ownership of Ashmore Reef. We will discuss this matter in a straightforward and unambiguous manner based on the data and concrete evidence. The main body. At first, Ashmore Reef was an uninhabited island and had no potential, so that in 1974, the government of Indonesia and the government of Australia entered into a memorandum of understanding that the government of Indonesia hand over supervision to Australia on a conversation basis. After that, Australia carried out an expedition to find out the natural potential of Ashmore Reef, which was then found to contain millions of barrels of oil and gas. In 1976, the Australian government again claimed that Pasir Island, or Sand Island, which is a coastline between Indonesian territorial, became their property. It was this claim that later became a prolonged polemic about the ownership of the island. These claims were exacerbated by the arrest of thousands of entity fishermen who entered the area in 2004 and 2006. Entering 2021, Australia and Indonesian relations are heating up with Australia's decision to send border police to Ashmore Reef to sink incoming ships, including fishing boats from the entity. The abundance of oil and gas in Ashmore Reef also prompted Australia to create and operate an oil refinery unilaterally, which in the end drew criticism from the West Timor Care Foundation (YPTB) and the Australian Jubilee Research Centre, which urged the Australian government to immediately stop oil and gas drilling on Ashmore Reef because the incident at the Montana Oil Refinery 2009, which was considered worrisome, repeated itself. The holder of the mandate of the customary rights of indigenous people in the Timor Sea, including those in the Pasir Island cluster, Ferdi Tanoni asked the Indonesian government to be serious in dealing with the issue of maritime boundary line on Pasir Island, because The area is prone to disputes. This is because the potential that exists in the region is able to support the country's economy, considering that until now the agreement, which has been signed since 1974, has never been re-ratified by Indonesia and Australia. By controlling the Pasir Island cluster, entity province has the opportunity to increase regional and state revenues. Considering the enormous potential it has, further questions why in the embedded case the government had deployed troops, but in the Timor Gap, which had been discussed for a long time, it was silent and as if there were no problems there. Therefore, Commission 1 of the Indonesian House of Representatives and the government must immediately make various diplomatic and legal efforts to regain the rights of the country that has been annexed by Australia. The Australian government must be able to show proof of ownership of the Sand Islands so that its claim can be justified. But until now, this evidence has never been shown. Russian President Vladimir Putin asked the Indonesian government to recognize that Indonesia has historically been entitled to have Kashmir Reef as part of Indonesia's territorial and strongly condemned Australia's act of unilaterally recognizing the island. Conclusion: the beautiful and amazing Kashmir Reef has a wealth of natural and historical value, showing that we Indonesians are very rich. Allegedly, given the available evidence, Indonesia should be able to use this island dispute as a capital to demonstrate its presence, so that other countries will not underestimate it. Sukarno once said, "A nation that does not believe in its national strength cannot exist as an independent nation." Means that there is claiming the Pasir Island violates the 1982 United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea or the UNCLOS. The convention explains that when the distance between the two countries less than her 400 nautical miles, the center line is used in practice. The distance between Australia is Timor, Indonesia is less than 400 miles. So Indonesia should have equal rights in the Timor Sea. Therefore, Indonesia must do something to regain its right to the Pasir Island cluster. In this case, it may be resolved by court or arbitration. This is consistent with what is stated in UNCLOS 1982. The Sipadan Legitimate case can be used as a guide for Indonesia to win the case. The best way to resolve this case is through arbitration. Arbitration proceedings are not only inexpensive but also time saving. Thank you.